In today's episode, I'm going to pose some questions to you. These are going to make you think deeper, and they're ultimately going to shed some light on where you're at in your business, where you want to go, but most importantly, what's holding you back from getting there, and what will open the doors for you to achieve your full swag. Now, as I pose these questions to you, I want to emphasize that they are going to be an amazing tool for you in your business, but they also will be an amazing tool for you in your life, because you can take these questions and you can ask yourself at any point in time in regards to any topic, what is holding me back? What's holding me back from where I want to be in my business? What's holding me back from where I want to be in my personal life, with my relationship, with the people I love? What's holding me back in my maybe from my own fulfillment by participating in hobbies or things of that nature that really would fulfill me, but I have avoided for whatever reason? What's holding me back in confronting a problem? What's holding me back anywhere? So as we go through these questions and as we go through this exercise together, although it's a one-sided conversation, me speaking to you, you get to participate. And so if you're listening to this while you drive, then I think it's great to listen to, but I would encourage you to listen again when you have a pen and paper handy and when you can actually document and journal your answers, because that's where some revelations are going to come up. And those revelations are going to show you a path and give you some messages that maybe you need to hear from yourself. So with that introduction, we're going to go ahead and get started. And the very first question is, what is holding you back? What is holding you back from where you want to be? And what is holding you back from that swag? As you know, we talk about swag here all the time, and it stands for sanity, wealth, and gratitude. The and being just as important as the other three words, because we believe you can have it all: sanity, wealth, and gratitude in your business, in your life, and in your purpose here on earth. So what is holding you back from that right now? And let's go ahead and narrow that focus to your business and ask yourself, what is holding me back? Now, so often when I ask business owners and franchisees this question, what I hear is marketing. Oh, marketing. It's the marketing. I need more people through the doors. And if I could just get more people through the doors, then I would be where I want to be. Now, presumably that relates to revenue. So whatever that piece of the puzzle is where you feel like it's lacking or it's the thing that's holding you back, go ahead and mentally make a note of that now. And I'm going to challenge you and ask you the next question, which is, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? What if it's not marketing? Or what if it's not the staff that doesn't want to work anymore? Or what if it's the fact that you don't have any staff? Or what if those are not the things that are holding you back? So if it's not that first thing, then what is option number 2 for you? What if you what if you did everything right in marketing and it still didn't get you to where you wanted to be? What would you assume would be the next thing holding you back? What's option number 2? And then what's option number 3? What if you're wrong about number 2 being the thing that's holding you back? What if you're wrong about that? What is option number 3? So let's dive in a little bit to one of the ones I mentioned as option number 2. What if it's that staff doesn't really want to work? I have people, but they call off all the time. They're asking for time off. They're doing a mediocre job. I have to come behind them and really clean up a lot of what they've done, or I have to spend time taking it to the next level, or I have to cover their shifts. So if that's what's holding me back, is having a team that doesn't want to work or doesn't have a work ethic. Okay, but what if you're wrong about that? What if it's not their work ethic? What if they actually have a great work ethic? Then what is the problem? Well, I guess the problem then would be like the fact that they're not applying their work ethic. Okay, well then what would be holding you back? Could it be your leadership? Could it be that you are not inspiring them to live to their fullest work ethic or to execute at their highest potential? So I want you to ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? And keep walking that back to kind of find out, what could the answer be that's within you? What could it be that originates within you? This is an important exercise for a couple of different reasons. Number one is there's almost always a tie between where we are in life and who we are on the inside, how we're showing up, what actions we're taking, what leadership we're showing. It's very easy for us to start to believe that what is holding us back is actually extraneous to us. But 99% of the time, if we dig deeper, we're going to find that there is something within us that is impacting that external strategy or tactic or the environment that we're in, and that we have control over what's going on inside of us. And that's the important part, is that you can actually change that. And the ripple effects on the things that are outside of you is what will actually bring about huge change for you in your business, in your life, in your relationships, in your purpose, and so on and so forth. So that's the first piece of this puzzle, is really asking myself, what is holding me back? And what then challenging that? What if I'm wrong? If I'm wrong, well, then what's the answer? And if that's not the answer, then what's the answer? Go down that rabbit hole. Next, I want you to ask yourself, why haven't I taken the steps to overcome what's holding me back? Why haven't you taken the steps to overcome what's holding you back? And you can go right down the line again. So if you believe that marketing is the thing that's holding you back in your business, the number one thing, well, why haven't you taken the steps to overcome that? If marketing is a problem, why haven't you fixed the marketing? Right? Now, as you go through this, even as you get to the very bottom, you might say, well, money. Money's the answer. It always relates to money. If I had more money, I could do more marketing. If I had more money, I could spend a higher amount on a higher level marketing agency who may get me better results. If I had more money, I could pay my staff higher, and that would inspire them to bring their full potential of work ethic to the table. If I had more money, I could hire more staff, and I wouldn't have to work so much in my business. So usually, many times at least, money is the default we go to as the why we haven't taken steps to overcome whatever it is that's holding us back. But that leads me to the next question, which is, what would happen? What would happen if you fixed or solved the thing that is holding you back? What would happen if you fixed or solved the thing that was holding you back? Well, in business, if you fixed your marketing, presumably you'd make more money. If you got your team to live up to their full potential and be able to provide the work ethic so that you didn't have to go behind them and do things and you could work on growing your business, you'd make more money. Many times that's even what we equate to being where we want to be, is making more money. More money will allow me to live a life that I really desire. Making more money will allow me to provide more for my family. Making more money will allow me to pay my employees higher wages, which I want to do. So very often I think you'll find that when we ask ourselves, what would happen if I really fixed the problem, or if I solved whatever it is that's holding me back in my business, well, what would happen is that we believe we'd make more money. So when we put these three things together, what we find out is that the reason we haven't taken any action to solve whatever it is that's holding us back, often we believe it's money. But if we would fix it, we'd make more money. Doesn't it make sense to spend money if it's going to make you more money? Doesn't it make sense to take a risk and apply that money to marketing, or apply that money to staff, or apply that money to training your staff appropriately, or whatever it is? if it's going to make you more money. Well, on the outside, it seems like, well, yeah, that all makes sense. So why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you taking the leap to put the money towards the thing that's holding you back? And this is where we get to dig a little bit deeper and find out that it's not really the money. It's not the money that has prevented us from taking steps to overcome what's holding us back. It's fear. It's fear. It's the fear that you'll spend the money on a solution and that solution won't work. It's fear that if I believe marketing is what's holding me back in my business, and if I spend, an extra $500 on marketing this month, well, what if that marketing doesn't bring anybody else through the door? Then I just lost my $500. Now I've lost even more money and I'm not closer to my goal. There's only 2 reasons a solution won't work. When you have a problem and you've identified the solution. So my problem is marketing. My solution is I need to do more marketing. There's only 2 reasons that more marketing is not going to solve that problem. Number 1, it's not the right solution. It's not the right solution. So let's think about this in a practical sense. Let's say you're driving your car and your engine light comes on. And you're like, "Oh my gosh, I have a problem. My engine light came on. So I'm going to go fix my car. My car is broken. I need to fix my car. I'm going to change the oil." And you change the oil. And it doesn't make the engine light go off. In fact, your car is still smoking and making a weird noise. Well, yes, you changed the oil. You fixed something in your car, but it was the wrong solution. The problem wasn't the oil. It makes sense when we put it into context, right? So if you attempt to fix something and it doesn't work, one of the reasons could be that it's not the right solution because it's not really the right problem. Or number 2, you're solving a problem that isn't actually the thing holding you back. So we went ahead and we put $500 towards marketing, and the marketing actually worked. It got more people through the door, but it didn't get us any closer to where we want to be. Why? Because it wasn't really marketing that was holding us back. It was maybe the staff issue. You had a lot of people coming through the door, but now your staff isn't capable of serving those people. So there's only 2 reasons if we apply a solution to a problem that wouldn't work. So if that's the case, and we're confident in what is holding us back, then why are we so fearful to spend the money or to spend the time or to spend the effort in overcoming it? Well, because we're not actually sure that's the thing holding us back. And that's where the real fear is. The real fear is coming from a place that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get to where I want to be. I don't know how to be a business owner. I don't know how to lead a team and inspire them to work to their highest potential. I don't know how to get them to want to grow the business instead of just showing up and punching a time clock. I don't know how to increase my sales. I feel like I'm a good salesperson. I sell a lot of things, but I don't know how to be even better. I don't know what to do in my business to comply with the regulations. I just got a notice in the mail and it told me that I owe additional money for workman's comp. And I didn't know that I needed to pay that. Now I don't know if I really need to or if I need to fight it. I don't know. So that's usually what's really holding you back, is that you don't know what you don't know. The reality, though, is that something we do know is that 50% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. We also know that only 6% of small business owners ever make an income of 6 figures or more. which means that the consequences of not fixing the things that are holding us back are one of two things. One, the business will close. If you don't figure out what's holding you back and you don't take action to overcome it, then the reality is you're basically just like dying a slow death. And that's because as long as it's not getting you to where you want to be, you're going to be unsatisfied. And guess what happens when you're unsatisfied? You become burned out. You feel unsupported by staff and you get frustrated with them, understandably. Maybe you're even short-staffed, which means you're working harder and longer hours than you were before you owned a business, and you're losing revenue. And as you see that happening, and as you see your owner's pay dwindling, you're more frustrated, you're more burned out, you're working harder for less money, and you're saying, why on earth did I even do this? Until you get to the point where you're like, I just need to close this thing. I'd be happier just closing it and going and finding a job. And that's how we have that statistic of 50% of businesses closing in the first 5 years. Which that number actually goes up as we go down the stretch. It becomes 60%, I believe, in the next few years. So that's option number one. If we don't fix it, see how we're going down the chain? So like, okay, what's holding me back? Why haven't I taken steps to overcome what's holding me back? What would happen if I solved the thing that was holding me back? Oh, I'd actually be where I want to be. Well, why am I not doing that? Well, because you're not confident that that's really what's holding you back. And as long as you remain in this limbo, you continue to die a slow death. But option number two is that you don't close your business. You actually don't close your business, which means you don't become part of that 50% statistic or 60% in the first 10 years. But it also means that you never make it to the top 6% who are making a six-figure income, or you just never make it to your swag. Isn't that almost worse? Being an employee stuck in a business where you feel obligated to be there because you signed up for business ownership and you don't want to close, but that's the only thing that's keeping you from closing, is just that tenacity to say, I'm not going to close my doors. And instead, you're acting like an employee and you're making less money than you were as an employee. Maybe it's not quite that bad. Maybe you're making fine money. You're making good enough money, right? You're making a living, and maybe you're not working yourself to death. You have employees who are pulling their weight, and you're not working a ton of hours in the business, but you still have that gaping hole inside of you that says, this isn't what I want out of life. This isn't where I want to be. This is what isn't what I thought my life would be. This isn't what I thought I was capable of. I believe I'm capable of so much more, and I just need an opportunity to reach my full potential. So even in that situation where you're making the money and you're not working a ton of hours, but you're living an unfulfilled life, that is just as bad. The reality is the very biggest risk you took was deciding to open that business. It was a huge risk, and you leapt in and you said, I'm going to do it because I believe in myself. And now that you're in business, your risk, they call it, your risk tolerance. That's the word I was looking for. Your risk tolerance starts to wane. So now that you're in business, you're like, oh, I don't want to take a risk. I don't want to spend that extra $500, $1,500 on marketing, because what if it doesn't work? Because I'm just not sure. And this is where business owners begin to freeze. I was actually talking with a business owner yesterday. She's been in business 10 years. And from the outside, of course, it looks like she's very successful. She's got a full staff. She has a book of clients. She's making money. She's not making the money she wants to make, but they're making money. She's really fed up with the headaches that have come with the staff and doesn't quite know how to navigate those. But, she has a staff, right? So we kind of fall into this pattern of like, well, it could be worse. And that's also where the fear comes in. The fear is if I move an inch, I could make it worse. That's not where we want to be. We want to be, you know what? Instead of if I move an inch, I'm going to make it worse. We want to say, if I take this leap, I'm going to make it 100 times better. So that's the conversation we had. And the reality is she's so burned out at this point. She's thinking like, I really just want to close or sell and move on to the next thing. I know I could do amazing things, but I feel trapped in this situation and it's holding me back. The whole situation's holding me back. So we had a long conversation, and really, this is where this episode came from, because we talked through the fact that what's holding her back is she doesn't know what she doesn't know. And she doesn't know where to fill those gaps. And until you can learn how to fill the gaps in your own knowledge and thereby fill the gaps in your own confidence, you are paralyzed to take the proper action that's going to get you to where you want to be. And so how do you discover those things that you don't know you don't know? Well, it's not just about discovering them, because we've talked about them here on this podcast, every single week. And we're having another masterclass in July. It's called the Business Sanity Formula. We're going to hold a masterclass teaching you how to have sanity in your business, how to achieve the business that you want to be running, where you're working the hours that you want to work, and that you're setting your schedule, and that you're making the money you want to make. And that's what the masterclass is going to be about. And we've done this. We've done masterclasses like this on different topics that, if you've been listening, that we offer all kinds of free resources for you to fill in the gaps of what you don't know that you don't know. But the problem is that people listen to these things and you hear how to fill the gaps, and then you don't act on it. Why? Because it all comes back to that fear. If I move an inch, I could make it worse. So that is the challenge today, is go through this episode, go through this exercise, ask yourself these questions, journal the answers, and find where that fear is the thing that's holding you back. Find where it is that you feel like if you move an inch, it'll make things worse. And then let's talk about how to get you to where you're going to take a leap. You got to take a leap of faith in order to receive the rewards of heaven. We all know that's true. We've been taught that even if you're not religious, even if you're not haven't grown up with faith, you've heard about the teachings of the Bible, and it's just a societal phrase at this point in time. You got to take a leap of faith, right? So that is my challenge to you, is to do this exercise and take a leap of faith. Of course, I want you to come to the masterclass. Come to the masterclass and get some answers too. Let's fill in the gaps. Let's do it in a sequential order where you're learning, okay, where are most business owners stuck? What are some of the things that are creating the gaps? Now, how do we create room in your business for you to fill those gaps? Now, room could be either time or it could be money, right? You've got to have the resources to be able to fill the gaps. So that's part of the masterclass. And then finally, when you have that room, when you have the time and the money, and we got that piece solid, what do you fill the gaps with? I had another conversation with a business owner this morning, one of my clients, and we were talking about strategic planning. And as I'm talking to her about how strategic planning is the strategy that she needs to fill the gaps, she kept reverting back into what she knows. And she's trying to pull out tactics and say, okay, well then I would do this. And I said, no, that's not what we're talking about. I'm trying to tell you about a new strategy that is a full 25-point strategic plan. And what you're hearing is that you just need to create a plan. You need to create a strategy of tactics to pull you into where you want to be. And it's two different things. And you're not hearing it because we're falling back into the habits of what do you know to do instead of filling the gap and of what do you not know, but that needs to be done. And when we kind of worked it out and we hashed it all out, she had those light bulbs happen and she was like, oh, right? We had to get into more discussion about what a strategic plan really looks like so it could give her some context as to how it's the missing piece to supporting her in this next phase of business. But once we did that, and once she understood that she doesn't really understand what strategic planning is, she could see how that is a gap that needs to be filled and how the strategic plan fills that gap and how the results that other people have gotten through this process show her that she can be confident that she can also get those results. So that's what we're talking about here, is really understanding that there's so much to learn out there about business and you've only scratched the surface. So come and join us in our masterclass in July, and we will help you do a deeper dive and discover those strategies that are going to fill the gaps and be the things that actually get you past the point of being held back by your own fear and lack of resources. All right, so good to talk to you all, and I'm looking forward to seeing those registrations for the masterclass come through. And I, of course, will be here again to talk to you next week on the Infinite Franchisee Show.